In this video, we're diving into one of the strangest and most unsettling ideas of all. What if your thoughts are not just shaping your perception of reality, but actually creating it? What if ghosts, monsters, and even the things we fear most aren't coming from the outside, but from inside our own minds? And at the end of this video, we'll explore one of the strangest theories of all, the idea that we may have already created something we can't take back. Stay tuned. Let's start with the science. Can thoughts actually affect reality? According to quantum physics, the observer effect suggests that simply observing something at the quantum level can change its behavior. Scientists have run experiments where particles behave differently, depending on whether they're being watched, as if reality itself responds to human awareness. And then there's the double slit experiment, where light behaves as both a wave and a particle, but only when we're looking at it. When it's unobserved, it exists as a probability wave. This has led some to theorize that reality doesn't exist until it is observed. But what about on a human level? The placebo and nocebo effects, thoughts that heal and harm. Most people have heard of the placebo effect, where someone given a sugar pill believes it's real medicine, and their body actually starts healing itself. This isn't just in their head. Brain scans show that real physiological changes occur just from belief alone. But here's where it gets darker: the nocebo effect. This is the opposite of placebo. People experience real negative symptoms simply because they believe they should. Some cancer patients have been told they had only months to live, and they died on schedule, only for autopsies to reveal that their cancer was far less advanced than doctors thought. Did their belief kill them? And if thoughts can heal or harm on an individual level, what happens when millions of people focus on something at once? The Philip experiment, the ghost that never existed. It started as a simple experiment. In the 1970s, a group of researchers in Toronto decided to test a bold hypothesis. Could they create a ghost using only thought and belief? They gathered 8 people in a room and introduced them to a man named Philip Aylesford, a tragic nobleman from the 1600s who had fallen into despair and died under mysterious circumstances. There was only one problem. Philip never existed. The researchers made him up entirely. His name, his history, his death, it was all fiction. But they wanted to see if they could manifest him into existence just by focusing their minds. At first, nothing happened. But then, over weeks of seances, something changed. The table began to vibrate. Strange knocks echoed throughout the room, as if someone was answering their questions. They asked Philip yes or no questions, and he responded. But how? Some believe it was pure subconscious projection, a trick of the mind, the result of expectation and collective suggestion. But others say that something else answered, that maybe, just maybe, they had created a door, and something walked through it. The experiment ended, but its implications didn't. If belief alone could summon something that responds, then what else could human thought bring to life? Tulpas, the entities created by thought. In the snow-capped mountains of Tibet, Buddhist monks have practiced something called tulpa creation for centuries. A tulpa is an entity that begins as pure thought, an idea, a construct. But if a person concentrates on it long enough, visualizing it in perfect detail, giving it personality, desires, and habits, it crosses over. It takes on a life of its own. In traditional practice, monks create tulpas for guidance, wisdom, or even companionship. But sometimes, the tulpas stop obeying their creators. One famous case comes from Alexandra David-Néel, a European explorer and spiritualist. In the 1900s, she traveled deep into Tibet and learned the practice of tulpa making from Buddhist monks. As an experiment, she decided to create a short, plump monk, a harmless, friendly character who would exist only in her mind. But as time passed, he became realer. Others began to see him. He walked around the monastery. And then he changed. He grew thinner, darker. His expression twisted into something malicious. Alexandra became terrified, and it took months of focused meditation to finally erase him. But here's the question. Did she create something real, or was something else lurking, waiting for a form to take? Now, modern tulpa enthusiasts claim to have intentionally created tulpas in the digital age. Some say their tulpas talk back in ways they don't expect. One person described how, after months of focusing on creating a friendly companion, their tulpa whispered something one night that sent chills through their spine. "You didn't create me, you let me in." Slender Man and the power of collective belief. Unlike Philip Aylesford and Tulpas, Slender Man started as an internet meme. In 2009, a forum called Something Awful held a contest to create eerie photoshopped images. A user named Eric Knudsen submitted 2 black and white photos showing groups of children and a tall, faceless figure lurking in the background. He called him Slender Man. At first, it was just a creepy internet story. But then things started happening. People reported seeing Slender Man in their dreams. Others swore they saw him watching from the woods near their homes. And in 2014, something horrific occurred. 2 12-year-old girls in Wisconsin lured their friend into the woods. They stabbed her 19 times, claiming they did it for Slender Man, believing he was real, believing he would take them into his domain if they proved their loyalty. Thankfully, their victims survived, but the case sent shockwaves through the world. Psychologists called it shared psychosis, a case of mass hysteria where 2 people reinforce each other's delusions. But what if it wasn't just delusion? What if, through millions of people believing in Slender Man, something manifested? A terrifying thought. Could the collective fear of a single fictional character have summoned something real? And if so, what else might we have already brought into existence? The simulation theory connection. Now let's take this even further. If reality is a simulation, as some physicists suggest, then thoughts might act like code, altering the world around us. Scientists like Nick Bostrom propose that we're living in a digital construct, where everything, even matter, is data-based. And if that's true, what does that mean for our thoughts? Some paranormal researchers believe that if reality is a shared simulation, then thoughts could act as commands, rewriting it in real time. If enough people believe in something, whether it's a deity, a ghost, or a cryptid, does it become part of the system? Could reality itself be a mass hallucination, shaped by the strongest collective thoughts? If so, then we're not just experiencing reality, we're creating it. Now, the terrifying final theory. Remember what I said at the start, that we may have already created something we can't take back. Here's the chilling part. What if our collective fears, demons, ghosts, aliens, are not entities from another world, but things we've thought into existence over centuries? Some researchers believe that ancient gods and monsters were once thought into being the same way Slender Man was. They started as beliefs, but over time, belief turned them real. And here's the most unsettling part of all. If reality responds to thought, then what are we creating right now? With billions of people focused on fear, chaos, and the unknown, what's taking form in the shadows? What happens when an idea becomes real? So what do you think? Are thoughts just thoughts? Or are they something far more powerful than we understand? If you found this fascinating, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and let me know in the comments. What's the strangest experience you've ever had? Because who knows? Maybe we're all creating something together. A strange thought, isn't it?